The edge is a position that many Bears fans are still questioning and wondering if the Chicago Bears have done enough to address the depth needed at that position. Well, the Bears have signed physical presence Jereme Robinson out of Kansas as an undrafted free agent. We're going to talk about what he could bring to the team, all and more, right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host, Darren Hayes, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today. So the Chicago Bears have signed 6'3", 255-pound, 5-year center Jereme Robinson out of Kansas as an undrafted free agent. When you look at this guy over the last 2 years of his NCAA career, he had a total of 10 sacks over those last 2 years. Also, 2 forced fumbles, 6 passes deflected as well. This is a guy that has an NFL body right away. That's the thing you're going to notice about him that really stands out. He is a physical presence with that 265 pounds. He has a very long frame on top of that, which is why he's able to do the things that he's able to do. When you look at it, he looks the part. And I think that's the biggest thing that you're looking at when it comes to Jereme Robinson is that he definitely looks the part of a defensive end. He's lined up as 4 tech, 3 tech, right? Standing in the standing position, getting his hands in the dirt. This guy has a really wide range of skills that he can bring to the Chicago Bears defensive line. And that's something that when you look at, even with Shamar Turner, who the Bears did draft, that it's even with Deo Odeyingbo, right? Bringing in versatile players that can play multiple positions and or sides on that defensive line has been something that's really been the theme of the Chicago Bears over this offseason, right? Yeah, he looks the part. And I do think that he has a tremendous get off when it comes down to it as well. And that's something that you're really looking at. The scheme is really going to be a big factor on how effective he's going to be able to be at the next level, of course, right? But that stance that he has there, regardless of the position, is really good, right? He plays high. He has a really nice, firm, base when it comes down to it as well. And the lower half that he plans in, it really allows him to kind of get past, right? He is really good at bull rushing linemen in one-on-one scenarios, which allows him to get that penetration that we saw over his last 2 years of college as well. And so that's the thing. Like when you look at it, he's kind of similar to DeMarcus Walker that we had. He's better in pass rush on the edge. He's better at the run defense on the interior, and that's where it could help him kind of find his place in the NFL when it comes down to it. He has really good efficiency when it comes down to it. When he's lined up on the interior as well, he uses his length to really get to the run, to be a run stopper when it comes down to that. He's able to read gaps pretty well also, but effort, the size, the physicality, and the effort, this guy just does not stop when he's on that defensive line. And that could be why the Bears wanted to take a shot at him here as an undrafted free agent. Also, Jereme Robinson was ranked as the number 18th, so in the top 20 of undrafted rookies coming out of the draft, and the Bears got him and shored him up on day one. Now, that does not necessarily mean that he's going to have an NFL career or anything like that. It's going to come down with most of these undrafted free agents. How do they adapt, right? How do they take well to coaching, which is going to be a really big thing here. How well does he take to that? What does Dennis Allen and his defensive coaches really see out of him? Scheme is going to be a big thing here, right? He's taking snaps at every single position along the front line on the defense, which adds again to that versatility that it seems like Dennis Allen and this defense is looking at with most of their defensive line players that they have here. He's going to stand up at the edge, right? He's going to be able to contain and put pressure on when it comes down to that. And so he has that prototypical NFL edge body where he's lacking at sometimes, right? Where he gives power, length, effort is really good for him. Some of the advanced techniques in certain areas are where he kind of fails at sometimes, right? That's why, like, being out on the edge, he's not necessarily as good in run defense out on the edge because some of those advanced moves that are needed there are lacking from him a little bit. But this is a guy that, because of his power, because of his strength, and because of his size, he's able to find ways to be effective. The question is that going to be enough at the NFL level, right? In the NFL level, you're going to face off against big guys every single day, right? You're not going to face off against a lot of undersized linemen that you can take advantage of sometimes in college. And that could be where he's going to fall back on. And that's really one of the things that really kind of pushed him out of this draft is because of that, right? But he does bring tremendous positional versatility. The fact that he's deflected passes, the fact that every year in his college, he's gotten better every single year when it comes down to it as well. And that's really what you want to look at for and try to build off of him when it comes down to that. You can't teach size, you can't teach speed, and he has a combination of both of those. In the Hula Bowl as well, he really stood out a lot in that game as well. He stood out in the Senior Bowl. So this is a guy that, as a fifth-year senior, is bringing some experience to the Chicago Bears. Does that give him the inside edge, though, to be able to make the team? That's the question that you're going to have to ask here, and the Bears are going to have to try to figure out with Jereme Robinson. Overall, I like this kid's skill set. I do think he fits in with kind of the mold that we're seeing that this Allen is trying to build here with the defensive line, with the Chicago Bears. It makes sense that they would want to take a look at this kid to see what he can bring. Being able to play every position on that defensive line, that's a weapon, right? Now, it's all going to be situational and positional for a lot of these UDFAs, unless they come in and they really show some size. But like the effort that he plays with, that tenacity that he plays with, I think is really going to be could be what gives him that angle and that lane to potentially make the NFL. Again, all these guys have an upward battle, right? I'm not trying to at all come in here and gas and make it seem like we've gotten a steal at every potential UDFA. It's not that, right? But when you're signing undrafted free agents, you really want to take a look at, all right, what is the thing that they potentially could bring here that could help us out with a team and make it a cost-effective signing? And that really comes down to him, to Robinson. It's going to be scheme fit, right? How the ways that he can fit in multiple schemes, in multiple coverages, in multiple areas, in multiple different lineups. That's going to be the thing that I think he's going to have to try to hang his hat on. And that's been the thing, and the thing that we said about a lot of these undrafted free agents on both the offensive and defensive side of the ball in this period for the Bears, because it really looks like that's what they're prioritizing here, is bringing in players that can play multiple positions, that can bring a lot of different looks, but also experience, right? A lot of these guys that you're looking at UDFAs have been 5-year. We even have a 6-year senior in that time period, and that's going to be what really helps it. He has the frame. I think that's the thing that I keep going back to. When you see this guy, he looks the part, and he looks like somebody that can that definitely looks like an NFL edge. You're not seeing anything undersized or anything like that. It's just going to come down to technique for him and how much of that technique he can add to the unrelenting nature that he plays with. And if he's able to find that, that could be what finds his path in the NFL. And we'll see if he can get it done. Overall, I think this is another solid UDFA signing by the Chicago Bears. We're going to see what he can bring at training camp. That's what all these guys come down to. And if he ends up bringing a lot for the team, so be it. I think that, the Bears can benefit from that. But let me know what you guys think on that down below. Make sure you're following us at Shy Bears Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearsCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you, lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but Bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.